folks, and welcome back to Hammer Down Paintball, your source for outstanding paintball content. My nickname is Thor, and if you're new to this channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell, thumbs up button, and if it's not too much trouble, please head on over to my Facebook page, Hammer Down Paintball, and like that page as well. And if you do this mod, please feel free to go to that page and post up some pics of your marker. I'd love to see them. That would be great. And also to my current subscribers, thank you very much for your continued support. I absolutely appreciate that. So I actually had this video ready to go, and I realized I didn't really explain what this mod was for. And that is, we're carving this out so that it'll allow these to slide forward, okay? Because if you don't, you will have these hitting the back of this, okay? So this one's not modded. Now, back to your regular scheduled program. Now, before I get started, I'll just explain something real quick. This is the plastic version of this stock, and the reason I went with this one is because it's lighter. There is a metal version, but again, it would be quite a bit heavier than this one, and I wanted to keep this build as light as possible. So this, and the metal version is on MCS, at least at the time of this video, so go check out Modern Combat Sports. Go check out their website. It's actually for a 98 marker. So this is the kit that I bought. So this was the only way I could find this kind of stock in plastic. But a buddy of mine is going to buy this, this, and this, so I will recoup some of my money. So if you know somebody that'll buy it, then you recoup some of your money. It's great. So anyway, to get started, well, I'll show you real quick again what that looks like in the hand. And I'll put the stock all the way in. And you can see the clearance that I have here. It's, I did have these a little bit longer, but it was digging into my hand, so anyway, that wasn't cool. Now, the only downside to doing this mod is that after you cut these, there's no longer a stopper here, and you could put something there to make it stop when you pull out on it. I just haven't done it. I was thinking maybe put a finish nail in there and cut it off so it's barely sticking out or something like that, but I don't know, that's up to you. I don't think I'm going to bother. So anyway, that can happen, right? If you're pulling it out that way. I find it's best if you hold it like this and put your finger like this, and that way your finger's coming off of that button as you're pulling back. Because if you do it this way, basically you hold the button too long and you end up pulling it straight out. So anyway, on with the mod. Now, quick disclaimer, like any mod that you do to your marker or anything, there is a chance that you could mess it up, and if you do mess it up, I am not taking responsibility for that. You are doing this at your own risk, so be aware of the risks before you partake in doing a mod. So to my right, you can see all the tools that I use and that I recommend using. Also, I do recommend one of these, and I'll get to that in a second if you don't know what that is. So we got a flat file, a square file, which is about 1/4 inch, something with a nice sharp tip, hacksaw, and a rotary tool, and this is just a drill bit that came with the one of those Dremel kits rotary tool kits. It had some decent cutting edges on it, and with this I found it didn't take too much material away at once. Like, you actually had to push to get the material to start coming out, so that's not a bad option. But again, these are suggestions. If you think you can come up with better tools to do it, then that's up to you. Now, I know that most of you know what this is, so please be patient. I'm just telling people that don't know what it is. This is called a caliper. And in here is what you use to measure the outside diameter of something, or thickness, whatever. And these are for measuring the inside diameter of something. And then this piece is for measuring depth, just like that. Okay, so there's your crash course. And always make sure that this is showing 0. And if it's not, hit your 0 button to 0 it out when the fingers are all the way together. Okay, so here's just a quick comparison. This one's not modded, this one is. And I'm not going to be modding this one, this is just as a demonstration. So just to give you some comparisons here. Okay. I think that's good enough. So luckily for you guys, you're going to get measurements from me. I had to eyeball it all. So basically I had to take this, put that in there, and eyeball where I had to cut everything and blah blah blah. It was kind of a pain in the bum. So anyway, so I'll give you the measurements right now. Again, make sure that's zeroed out. Okay. So use this part to measure the inside measurement here. And that is 13, we'll call that 13 millimeters. And the depth is, call that 4 millimeters. Oh, look at that. I didn't even use this when I did this. And they're both exactly the same depth on each side. That's how good I am, folks. Or lucky, maybe. But as they say, you've got to be good to be lucky, right? So, anyway, put these screws back in is my recommendation so that you got a solid 2 halves together to work with. Fast. I don't have to fast forward this. It's going to be quick. Okay, so I guess I didn't really need to do that. But anyway, so your first cut is going to be right on the very top edge of these letters for the word Eclipse. Okay, it's almost like Eclipse knew that I was going to do this and left a nice perfect line for me to follow. Except I didn't know that's where I needed to go when I did it, so there's a benefit for you guys. So put your blade right on the top edge of those letters, okay, and use your fingers as a guide on the side of the hacksaw blade. And if you're using a knife or something, I don't recommend using your fingers as a guide. And make sure that you're wearing eye protection, okay? Get a good pair of safety glasses and wear them. I'm not wearing them because I'm not actually going to be doing any cutting or grinding. So anyway, put your blade on the top edge there, use your fingers as the guide, and just short strokes back and forth, okay, until you cut a nice groove in there. Make sure you're straight this way and this way. And remember, don't go too deep, okay? Once you take material away, you can't put it back, okay? So a little bit at a time. It's better to take too little than too much, okay? So don't go past the 4 millimeters. Now, once you have that line cut, then you can take your calipers, open it up to the 13 millimeters. That's close enough. And then lock it in. Now, if this ends up saying 13.05 or 07, don't panic. You don't have to be that precise. That's not going to make any real difference. So take that tip right there, put it in the line that you had just cut, and then make sure it's straight this way as best you can, right? Use this line as your reference point for a straight line. or the line you just cut would work, I suppose. Anyway, maybe rest that against your belly and hold that in place. I knew this belly would come in handy one day. Then take a sharp point, put it right at the very tip of your caliper there, and dig the tip into the plastic to leave a mark. I'm not going to do that on that one because that's for another build. So stay tuned, you'll see that someday. So I'll show you what it'll look like when you actually leave a mark. I'm sure you can see that. That's all you need, right? You just need a reference point. So obviously once you get that mark, then take your hacksaw, do the same thing, use your fingers as a guide, make sure it's straight this way and this way, and cut down. And again, don't go past 4 millimeters. Do a little bit, check it, do a little bit, check it. All right. So then once you get both lines cut half decently, that's where you can use something like this or whatever you think is going to work best for you. And again, remember, a little bit at a time. So start going at it, right? Carve it out a bit, and then take your square file, clean it up, make some measurements, make sure you're getting everything on point. And this is why I recommend the square file, because you can do the flat part with it as well as get it right up to the edge and make sure you got a nice clean edge along here, right? It does a nice clean job. Okay, so there's 2 more measurements that you're going to probably want, and that is for the length of this sucker here. So if you want the same angle as what I have there, I'll show you that, I guess. Then what you want to do is measure along the top from this point, like right against this, out, and I would use these, or it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, I'd use these, I guess. Get right up to the edge. Hold that on there, and it is 100 millimeters from here to here. Okay, and then again down here from here to here is 95 millimeters. Okay, so mark 100 millimeters here and mark 95 on the bottom, and then draw a straight line between the two, and then use your hacksaw, cut it off. And keep in mind that these have metal inserts, so it's going to feel real easy at first, but then it'll kind of get a little harder to saw through, obviously. And then once you cut it off, that's where your flat file comes in. Just go around and clean up the edge nicely, right? So you don't have any sharp burrs sticking off or anything like that. And that's basically it, folks. And again, if you do this mod, head over to my Facebook page, post up some pics there. And even if it's not this mod and you just want to post some pics of your custom markers, I'd love to see them. I'm really into that sort of thing, and it'd be great to see it all. So yeah, now get out there and paint some faces, and tell them that one's for your buddy Thor. Thanks. Have a great day.